Very good morning to the Gelding. Gelding, very wet conditions today, and I think we might be dealing with a heavy track at Sandown Hillside.
Good morning, professors. Good morning, listeners. Yes, raining here, not far from Caulfield. So imagine Sandown's copped that rain all night and at the moment. So look, currently I'm getting from the TAB that it's a good 7, but I'm working on a heavy 10 track. And especially once they start racing on it, they're going to cut up the inside. The hillside has had plenty of use in the last 6 months. So let's see what happens, Professor.
Yeah, a 9-race program, Gelding, the first at 12:05 p.m. The track currently, as you said, a soft 7, but it's certainly going to start a heavy track. The rail is out 8 metres. Last week, Gelding, the rail was out 3 metres. Did you detect anything about the pattern of racing last week, the rail out 3?
Yeah, look, you had to be kind of still on pace last week, Professor. I suppose I'm just thinking today may be a different beast. With rain predicted during the race meeting, that normally tends to cut up the ground a bit more. So I think you'll find as the day progresses, it might be easy to be on pace in the early races. But then later on, revert wider and wider out as you go. So I think it could be just one of those days, Professor. Just work on a wet, wintry day at Sandown.
All right. Well, I've dubbed the feature race as being race 7, the King's Coronation Cup, benchmark 100 over 1,800 metres, worth $150,000, Gelding. But there's a couple of benchmark 100s today. And there's a couple of races worth $150,000. So I just threw a dart at the dartboard and picked the feature race.
Professor, I was just going to ask you a question about the Melbourne Racing Club. Now, we've got 600 normal Saturday race meetings, 130,000. Right, they've got 9 races on the program. 6 of them are for 150,000. 2 of them are for the standard Saturday race, 130. And then you shove one in at the end for 80,000.
Consolation prize, Gelding, a consolation prize.
Just to run another race, we won't offer too much prize money. Yeah. Anyway, that was, I find, as you well know, I find the workings of the MRC committee strange enough as it is. So why am I even thinking I'm surprised?
Did you get your email invitation from the MRC during the week to hear all about the new track, Gelding?
Yes, Professor. The track we don't need.
Well, Gelding, there was no indication in that email of when racing might start at Caulfield.
Oh, well, Professor, I think they're trying to start it in June, is what I'm hearing.
Yes.
Right? They told us they're going to cancel May and start it in June. Why? And just as a logical man, I ask you this, because you are a logical man. Why would you race horses on newly laid grass in June and July, the wettest winter parts, where it can be torn up by horses on it? Why not just give it another 2 months off and let the roots just settle in?
Well, that might happen, Gelding. It might be like death by 1,000 cuts. They'll just gradually let the members know that there won't be racing in June and there won't be racing in July, but they're not going to tell us that right up front.
No, we said we'll try for May. We'll be resuming in May. No doubt about it. Oh, okay, it hasn't quite come up. We'll stay at Sandown for May. Yeah, anyway.
Lucky they've got another race course to race at, Gelding.
Yes, the one they want to sell.
Oh dear. All right, Gelding. Well, Sandown Hillside today. What are your two best bets?
Well, Professor, there's a couple of shorties today that I would have liked on a good track. I just think, I don't think we want to be taking $1.60 on a couple of things on what's going to be a heavy track. So I've just looked a little bit deeper and gone for more open races. The first, and these are horses that I've backed before, Professor, and have been good for us. The first one is race 5, horse number 5, Cap de Jour, trained by Nick Ryan, to be ridden by Mark Zara, returning from suspension after the fall that he caused at Flemington, where he got 26 meetings, Professor, so quite a lengthy suspension. But this Cap de Jour has had one start on the track for a second. Over the distance, it's had 2 starts for 2 wins. Found the line fantastically at Geelong last start, over 1,700 metres, but it just got a little bit too far back in the field, Professor. Excuse me. That Geelong day, you had to be on the lead and racing, right on the pace. We got back a little bit too far, raced home to be beaten by under a length. Before that, won at Moonee Valley by 4.5 lengths, Professor. 9 starts for 3 wins, 4 seconds and a third. A heavy start, heavy track, 1 win and a second, Professor. I think that'll do me as our first bet. Race 5, number 5, Cap de Jour. Then go to another favourite of mine in race 8, horse number 2, Pinstripe, Professor. Won for us last start at Sandown, 1,600. Let's hope it can repeat the dose again today, Professor. Last start, won by 3.5 lengths. I just think this horse performs well in the heavy. 1 start for 1 win on a soft track, 6 starts for 2 wins and a second. I think it's just hit form. The trainer wisely, and I think a very good decision. When this horse was a 3-year-old, he thought it was, group class, and tried it in group races where it ran 3rds and 4ths and was there. This preparation as a 4-year-old, he's kept it to off-season racing, Professor. Here he's found a nice race worth 150,000. Where 95 will go to the winner. This horse has won 655,000 from its 13 starts. So I just think Pinstripe's well placed today, Professor. So my 2 tips: race 5, horse 5, Cap de Jour, and race 8, horse 2, Pinstripe. And you like, Professor?
Yeah, Gelding. Going early with my first tip in race 2, the Rod Fenwick handicap race for 3-year-old fillies over 1,000 metres. In that race, Gelding, I like horse number 1, Bay 13, which for people of your age and my age, Gelding, who used to go to the MCG and enjoy sitting in or near Bay 13, brings back plenty of memories.
Yes, notorious Bay 13 in the years. MCG was famous for it. Just remember Merv Hughes used to perform up to the Bay 13 crowd. So, yeah, a bit of a cricket thing, Professor.
Yeah, it is.
By deep field. So, very well named.
Coming out of barrier 6, Gelding, it's had 5 starts for 1 win and 4 placings. So only a 20% win rate, but 100% in the placings, Gelding. Why do I like this horse? Well, it ran 3rd at its last start in a Group 3, which was the Red Roses Stakes over 1,100 metres at Flemington. It was only beaten half a length, Gelding. It ran second. It ran second in a listed race in October at Moonee Valley on a heavy 8. Now it ran second to Wee Nessie. So Wee
Which
Nessie,
we've been on before.
yeah, and looking at the form guide since then, Gelding, Wee Nessie's run second in 2 Group 3s and was second in last month's Group 2 Arrowfield, beaten by Aft Cabin. So the form stacks up, Gelding.
It does. I like it, Professor.
First up, it's had 2 first ups for 1 win and a place. So it likes the first up, Gelding. Carleen Heffel, the apprentice, is in the saddle claiming 2 kilos. And Mornington trainer Matt Laurie, who we don't speak about very much, but he's in one of the tips today.
Yes, and doing quite a good job, Professor.
Exactly, Gelding. And at $3.10 and $1.45 at the present time, I think that represents pretty good value for a horse with that pedigree.
Yes, totally agree, Professor.
All right, my second one, Gelding, is in what I've dubbed the main race of the day, race 7, the King's Coronation Cup, over 1,800 metres. It's a benchmark 100. I like in that race, Gelding, horse number 10, Daytona Bay, coming out of barrier 8. It's had 9 starts for 4 wins and 2 placings. So a very good win rate of 44%, Gelding.
Yes.
Now, what do I like about this horse? It's won in the heavy at Sandown in its last campaign.
Yes.
It ran second at Sandown in its last start on a heavy 8. So I like the form. The odds-on favourite in this race, Gelding, Globe. Is Globe in this race?
Yes.
Yeah. The odds-on favourite in this race, Globe, likes to lead. Maybe a problem over 1,800, especially on this track.
Professor, as we said off air, I did like Globe, but I don't think you can be taking $1.60 on what's going to be a heavy Sandown track. And I can't see it stop raining, even though it's won impressively. That's a benchmark 73 horses against as you just rightly said, better performed horses.
Now, Gelding, if Carleen Heffel wins this race, we're picking her to ride a treble today.
Yes.
She's on 3 of our horses.
Yes. Well, Professor, this time of year, a good apprentice claiming 2 kilos, can make the difference.
That's right, Gelding.
As you said, I was looking at your earlier tip, Bay 13. Last starter was beaten a short half head and a neck. You said half a length, but it's been beaten by that much, Professor. 2 kilos can make that difference if ridden properly.
Yes, Gelding, it can.
But I would have thought you liked the trainer of Daytona.
Oh, very much like the trainer, and he's in form, Gelding, over his last 50, 24%.
Oh, beautiful.
So where else would you like your horse but with Peter Moody at the moment?
Well, exactly. And did you like the film the other day?
Yes, it was much ado about nothing, Gelding.
It was, wasn't it? But
hey, at least we're informed about what's going on, and we can actually see what's going on.
Yes, yes, Professor. I won't say where we are at the moment with the other horse that I've got interest in.
Yes, well, yes. All right, Gelding. All right. Well, so my tips for today: race 2, horse 1, Bay 13; race 7, horse 10, Daytona Bay. Now, looking at the Professor's parlay, Gelding.
Yes, Professor.
Our collect last week was torpedoed by the insipid reigning NRL premiers, the Penrith Panthers, who lost to the winless West Tigers. Now,
I couldn't believe it.
You couldn't believe it.
Couldn't believe it.
You couldn't believe it.
You've been in fine form, and as I put to Deligan on Sportsfan radio, did the Panthers pay for their end of season trip with a performance like that?
As I said, Gelding, the only word I could find in the language to describe it, was insipid. They never looked like a Gelding. I watched the whole game, and the longer the game went, the more I thought we were gone.
We were in trouble.
Never looked like it, Gelding.
Yeah.
So let's atone. Let's atone. We
Oh.
very rarely don't have a collect with this parlay, Gelding. So let's atone today. The agreed bet of the day is on the Sunshine Coast, Gelding, race 7, horse 1, Zaki. And
One of our favourites, Professor.
Yes, Gelding. It's currently showing $1.60. And we mentioned to our viewers that we're going for Zaki because it represents the best chance of a horse in Australia, as we see it today, of getting past the post and winning.
Yes, and we want to keep this Professor Parlay's streak alive.
Exactly right, Gelding. And let's parlay that into Geelong at home at Cardinia Park to beat Adelaide. Geelong have won 4 on the trot, look very impressive. They've got the second best percentage in the league at the moment, Gelding, even though they've lost 3 games, 135%. Hawkins and Cameron in great form up front. I can't see them. And $1.19, Gelding, the bookies agree with me as well. Adelaide.
Pretty good value.
Very good value, Gelding. Look, Adelaide are a little bit fluky, especially away. They only beat Hawthorn by 3 points. Hawthorn sit on the bottom of the ladder. They were beaten by Richmond. Richmond a third bottom. So I think Geelong at home, way too good.
Yeah, and a proper Geelong. Forget the little hiccup at the start. Question over fitness of some of their older players.
Yes, I think so. And they're now running into form, Gelding.
And they're just running into, well, not only form, but their best form, Professor.
Yeah.
Dangerfield and Hawkins both played as well as they have last week.
Yeah. All right, Gelding. And after being burned by the NRL last week, I'm returning to one of our favourites, Gelding, the Premier League.
Oh, no. Oh, no. No. No.
I've got a good one here, Gelding. Manchester City at home, always very, very, very difficult to beat at home, Gelding. They're currently sitting on top of the Premier League. They need to win this one to keep in front of Arsenal. They've got a plus 57 goal difference, and they're playing Leeds United, who are 17th, and in the relegation zone, Gelding, minus 24 goal differential at $1.25 in a 2-horse race, Gelding. I think Manchester City should get home. The parlay showing for the win 2-1, and for the place 3-2.
Let's hope, Professor. Let's hope they get up. Will the players, Man City, be watching the coronation when the game's being played or at halftime?
I don't know, Gelding, but I certainly won't. It'll be the greatest waste of time ever.
Well, have you ever seen one?
No, and I don't want to.
Okay.
No interest, Gelding. Absolutely
no interest. Okay.
No.
History-making event.
You know what, Gelding? My 6-year-old granddaughter, who believes in fairies and pixies and princes, may well watch it, and good luck to her, but certainly not something for me.
All right. All right.
All right, Gelding. Well, that's racing for today. So until next Saturday, it's good luck.
And good punting.